welcome to my February 26th vlog. This one is about if I were ever if I ever had the highest position in DepEd, what would I do to encourage students and help them in terms of English, science, and math? It asked me to make a step-by-step comprehensive plan, and I have it here. And I also have it here. Um, I did brainstorm this a lot, like the whole day. Whatever came to my mind, I wrote it down. And these actually might seem like really basic answers, but personally, I feel like the simpler solutions are the ones that work the best. So let's begin. Firstly, on my step by step comprehensive plan, the main idea is to or use more programs, and also hands-on in real life learning. And also, third idea are games and competitions. So I'm gonna be more in depth about this, starting with the use of school programs. I know there's already a lot of school programs in a lot of our schools, but I feel like they more talk about out of school stuff, like extracurricular activities, like school events, like hosting this and that, blah blah blah, and they don't offer more actually subjects. Oh, they don't offer more of a subject programs like English program, math program, science program, history program, and stuff like that. And so, what I think, they should do more of those, and also encourage them to and offer them more ways to study and learn instead of just sitting in a classroom listening to a teacher, because we all know those don't really work as effectively as we think. Also, make it fun and engaging. From my experience as a student, I am more willing to listen if the teacher makes the lesson fun. Even something as basic as sorry, something as basic as math or algebra, um, or some history or English lessons, whatever we were talking about in class that day. When the teacher actually makes it engaging and funny and talks to us talks more casually than just um, speaking in front of the board and teaching, and that's like that's like really that's we appreciate that, but the effort of being more fun is more effective than just plain teaching what's on the board, pro tip right here. Really listen to a child's needs, especially some who are in the younger grades, like elementary, grade 1 through grade 5 or 6, if we're really pushing it. And even the older kids sometimes just need to be listened to. And it would really give you an idea or a picture of what exactly it is that they might need to succeed. Next, hands-on in real life learning. And I don't mean this in a way that's like uh, just do field trips or just do the regular stuff. No. Um, don't be stuck in classrooms all the time. Uh, don't just sit them in a desk and expect them to really take it in. Like, at least for my experience, a lot of my classmates, I noticed whenever we were just talking, the teacher was just talking and we were listening and we were quiet. They weren't really listening all that much. Some were eating at the back, some were doing whatever else under their desk, like playing games. just doing anything they can to distract themselves, um, as if what the teacher is saying isn't really registering to them as something that important. So yeah, make it engaging, like what I said earlier, and have them actively participate in lessons. I feel like this one is more important because also in my experience, a lot of us would get more excited whenever the teacher would pull out like, oh, why don't we go to the science lab and let's learn there? And we would do experiments, we would do projects, and we would have this little bit of independence that really makes us excited to learn that. And even then, you should supervise them, obviously, but having them have that little bit of independence instead of spoon feeding them every bit of information that is on your lesson plan, that's more likely to get them to actually listen to you and engage in the discussion, games and competitions. I remember back in elementary and in high school, my friends and my classmates and I would get really, really competitive in terms of like quiz bees and like tournaments and stuff. And that really didn't happen as often as we would have liked it. And I feel like we should use that to our learning plan also. Because kids are competitive. We really like one upping each other. That's like our specialty. And also make it really fulfilling. Like when they win, just it makes it feel like they actually accomplished something great instead of, oh, I just finished a spelling quiz, that's all. No, make it as like, oh, this big deal to them and make it memorable, and that will help it stick to them more. On a doctor's note, you have a doctor's note right here. Also encourage healthy study habits and other learning practices on the students, and this I'm especially pointing towards high school students and senior high school students, or even college students, actually, because I know for a fact that our study habits are something you really shouldn't bring up in a doctor's office. um, because we lack sleep, we forget to eat, we basically abandon all bodily needs that we should be doing throughout the day in favor of studying. Like that is our number one priority right now. And I think that um with the way that they are teaching us now, it really takes the life out of actually learning and the joy out of learning. Because we're not doing it to gain knowledge anymore. We're doing it more to pass and to get grades and to just pass something at the end of the day so we won't be held back. And I think that encourages a lot of bad behaviors that I see and do. Some of them I do, but I mostly see with my friends and my peers. Um, so I have here um, the actual step by step. I didn't know how I was gonna do the step by step, but I figured I just list down in like chronological order what I feel like I would do personally if I was in the highest position of that ed. I would fund schools. I would use the funding to allocate budget for like more activities. Activities that are like not extracurricular per se, but that would help. Um, Activities for like I mentioned earlier, English, science, math, history, and all the other subjects. Also promote outside learning. Go outside, guys. Create programs that are fun for students. Do competitions and games. Make it hands-on. Encourage healthy learning and study habits. Oh, I already explained all of these, didn't I? Yeah, that's what I feel like I do personally. It also says here that kindly choose a lesson or subject matter per subject and grade level in addition to this activity. Okay, I have it here. And I feel like what it wants me to do is to have specific activities for these subjects. But truly, I all I could come up with was that they will be grouped under grades and like be set with an activity. So like grades 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, and 11 and 12. And of course, the activities get more advanced the older you are. But some things that stayed are like library fairs. We love a good library fair. It was one of my favorite childhood experiences as an elementary school student. And reading comprehension tests, but make them like a game, make them like a competition. But and also, I forgot to mention, while the using the games and competition part, it also helps them learn about sportsmanship. Because a lot of the times, whenever I see students competing, they'd end up really, really upset that they didn't win, and I feel like it brings down their confidence so much. And I feel like it's also just as important to teach them that it's okay to fail sometimes. It's okay to not get first place. It's okay to yeah, you can feel bad, but it's not the end of the world. And just because your peer won doesn't mean that you have to hate them for it. God no. You should still congratulate them and be happy for them. Uh, I think that's a very important lesson. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I have. I just listed down what I remember us learning back then. For math, science, English in grade 1 is counting and like simple addition and subtraction. In science, we have water cycle, and in English, we have reading. Number 2, or grade 2, there's numerals. I remember learning about numerals in that grade. And numbers as words, because let's face it, a lot of us don't know how to write numbers as words. Especially the ones that are like millions and billions, and you don't know where the comma would go, where the dash would go. In science, there's solids, liquids, and gases. And in English, there's spelling. You can never have too much of spelling. On math, there is multiplication and division. In science, there's human body. Oh, never mind. There's gravity and friction. And in English, there is short stories and poems. In grade 4, we have fractions, the human body, and reading comprehension. Grade 5, we have decimal fractions, food webs, I missed that lesson actually, and figurative language. For grade 6, we have integers, solutions, and the writing process. 7, we have ratios, atoms and molecules, and parts of speech. 8, we have linear equations, periodic table, traditional literature. 9, binomial and polynomial. We have energy and literary terminology. Number 10, quadratic function, acids and bases, and author's purpose. 11 is statistics and probability, tectonics and oral communication. And lastly, on grade 12, we have trigonometry, electromagnetism, and advanced literature. And you should probably find things similar to each other in these lessons, so you'd be able to make an activity out of them. Like, for example, the older kids have more like literature mixed in with their English, so I think something about plays and musicals like back in the day, like Shakespeare, Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, have them do activities that are related to that, like recreations or theater, and also making their own plays. I feel like that'd be fun if we get to create our own play with our own plot and characters and actually bring them to life on a stage. But I feel like that's too expensive. I feel like it should be just be like budgeted, but really put in the maximum effort. There's also, for science, it's more about chemicals and periodic table and molecules, and I feel like we should really make use of the science labs. And I feel like as someone in a high position of DepEd, I don't know what the highest position in DepEd is. As someone in that position, I would um I would fund science labs more. I will give them more equipment, more tools, chemicals if I have to, and just let the let the students, under supervision, let the students make their lessons in chemicals and stuff, like learn how to make this, learn how to make that. In math, it's a bit harder, considering my favorite really isn't math, but it's more about equations, and I feel like that would be more useful if you actually put them in real life phenomena, like actually use them in real life. Because I hear a lot of people talking about, we won't even use this when we're grown. We won't even use this when we're adults. Have them use it. Have them use it. Like actually put them in a situation where they have to use math, where they have to use these functions, these equations, these statistics, these probabilities. Like make like a controlled area where they pretend to have jobs as where math is like really involved in it, like statisticians, I believe that's what they're called. Yeah, and like I said, make very good use of tournaments and like competitions. They really like that. I yapped for way too long, I think. But yeah, that's my comprehensive step-by-step plan. I hope it's actually comprehensive and I didn't just yap it off. That's my strategies and methods. As always, thank you for watching me, and please take care of yourself.